Hello, Stephen. Nice to see you. Nice to see everyone. I hope everyone's had a good weekend and that you're ready for the week and for some really nice start with, a really nice meditation, hopefully, as a good start. Oh, wait, sorry. You should be able to hear me a bit better now. I had it a bit too far. Yeah, hopefully it'll be a nice start to the week with a nice meditation session. Thank you, Stephen, for yesterday. We had the group coaching call yesterday on the Discord channel. Hey, Az, nice to see you as well. Stephen and Az was there. And Nicole couldn't make it. I just sent you a message, Nicole. We had the group coaching call yesterday, and it was a really nice call. I find it so interesting how when you have more than one person, there's different perspectives that come up. And simple things. I think we discussed just one thing mainly, the whole talk, and it's one of those things that can seem very simple, but then when you really get into it, like, what does it actually mean? Like, what are we trying to do? And I thought that was an interesting discussion. Do you have any follow-up questions, Stephen and Azriel? Because I know I had some things I thought about after the conversation, like, we should have maybe talked about that, because there's just so many angles to look at it, and it's so easy to force yourself. Basically what we were talking about was how feeling good is really the kryptonite to the self, because when you feel good, you get faced with all these parts of the self coming up that wants to show, like, oh no, you're not allowed to feel good now, because who would you be if you felt good when all this bad stuff is happening? Or how can you fool yourself into thinking you're happy when actually bad things are happening to you, or you don't have the things you think you should have? Losing your identity to stop reflecting on things, yeah. And part of that is the identity that we have with how the world has to be a certain way. So you identify with, okay, this is mine, this is yours, I'm supposed to have these things. That doesn't mean that we don't care about, that we don't follow those things, or that we say that, you just take whatever you, like, whatever is mine, I don't care about it because I'm not attached to it. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about not feeling bad when bad stuff happens, which is a very different thing. And it's really strange for us to imagine how it would be to live life feeling good, because we're so used to the idea that we punish ourselves. Hey, Esperanza, nice to see you again. I think we have sorry, 1 second. We have a one of those, robo-mowers that mows the lawn. And it's, I can hear it stuck on the trampoline for the kids, because it's like spinning on the metal, making lots of weird sounds. I'm sorry for interrupting. See if I can stop it. There's like come on, you can stop. It's okay. What was I talking about? Losing your identity. Stop. Never mind. We'll see. If it continues, I'll have to go out. Yes, because when we go against common knowledge, or when we just agree, like the whole shift that you start thinking, like, it's okay to feel good no matter what's happening around you or even inside of you. I have lots of physical pain. I slept 3.5 hours tonight because I was woken up on my neck injury, and the day before it was the same. I've had several nights where I sleep very, very little, and it would be really easy for me to just think, life sucks, everything is bad, and just have like the whole day. But instead, there's a shift when you can really feel, when you move from everything, poor me, it's so sad for me, and this whole story, instead of, but that happened, so what are we going to do now? Yeah, I'm tired, I didn't sleep well. What do? Well, we try to adjust with getting some extra sleep in. We try to not strain ourselves too much. We talk to our colleagues. I had to go to work, and I asked my colleagues, can you help me a bit extra with this, because I simply don't have the energy today. I can't do anything that's that exhaustive to me. So you adjust and you make it work, instead of, it's so sad for me, and it's easy to get into that, and certain situations are really, really bad, and you might say, well, that's easy for you to say, you just don't sleep bad. Me, I have this problem, and that's really bad, and everyone thinks that. Everyone feels like their problems is the worst. So it's really a shift when you start seeing, like, hey, wait a minute, I don't have to live life like this. if you look around you and you see how many people go around and they're just miserable the whole time. I see it in so many people. It takes the majority of people that I see walking around me. They're just walking around and they're doing their things and they're plastering on a smile a little bit, but you can tell like they're tense and they don't really want to be there. They want to be somewhere else. And it takes a lot before we really feel happy to be alive. Why can't you be happy when you're at work? Why can't you be happy when you're cleaning the toilet? Like, there's all these things that we have set in front of us that says that no, you're not allowed to feel happy when these things happen. It's a strange concept to kind of start detangling, because all these things that come from that are quite surprising and quite profound, because you really have to look at yourself and like the identity of who you are, what you believe you need to have to feel good. Because if you look at a child, they have very basic instincts. They want warmth, they want safety, they want like milk and the mother's breast and just the closeness of someone. And then they just want to explore and they go around, and things don't have to be a certain way and good or bad. Am I fat? Am I not fat? Like, and again, I'm not saying, oh, don't care about your weight and just gorge and eat whatever because it makes you happy to eat lots of sugar. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, don't feel bad about those things and then see what you choose to do. Because if you, for instance, say you're in a relationship and you're only with that person because you promised you would be with them, you got married, but you don't like them, and you're staying with them just because you made a commitment, so we're going to do this, but you don't like them, you're not having a good relationship anymore, but you're in there, you're stuck to it, we're going to do this. Instead of thinking, okay, if you feel good, like, how would that change the relationship? Very likely, if you felt good, the other person would like you more and you'd have more fun because you'd be able to express yourself. And you wouldn't do that from guilt. You wouldn't say, oh, I love you because I have to love you. Like, no, I genuinely enjoy being with you. And if you didn't, then maybe you shouldn't be with that person. Hey, look at that. Thank you, Azriel. I appreciate that. I asked on Reddit about Plum Village. Someone, if you're wondering whether you'll enjoy a particular visit, I think you'll find that there is no bad time to visit. I like that. And I think that's a good way of putting it. I mean, I love Plum Village, the space. It's just a beautiful center. As I said, I've never been there winter time or even fall time. I've just been there for the summer retreat. I did stay into September. Did I stay into October? No, I don't think so. Just September, because what they do after the summer retreat, when they have so many guests, they have a period when they just don't allow any visitors, and it's just the monastics and the residents. There's like people who stay there long term. I think they call them internship. No, what do they call it? Aspirants. I don't remember the term, but they have people who stay there long term. They also have something called, or they used to have something called Happy Farm, which was a farm where they grew organic food, and people could live on this farm and just do gardening and take care of the land. And they got to live there. I'm not sure if they got paid or live there for free. I don't remember. But yeah, whenever you go, it'll be a fun time, of course. I just love the summers, and it's a very different experience to the rest of the year, I think. Any Esperanza? I haven't seen you for a while. You were out walking in the mountains. Oh no, sorry. No, that was not Esperanza. That was One Eye. Tim is Esperanza. I'm confusing you with someone else. How you been, Tim? You were practicing martial arts or something last time we spoke, I think, if I remember correctly. Also, if anyone has anything they'd like to bring up or any questions or topics that you've been thinking about, feel free to ask them. You were walking in the mountains as well. Very nice. I would love it. It's so funny. Before I had kids, it was just like, oh, you know what? I'm just going to go away for like a month. Or when I was a monastic, I'm just going to go meditate at that center for 3 months. It's just, or just a month. Now, like, imagine if I had a week to go meditate. When you have kids, your priorities and responsibilities change a lot. And the funny thing with that is that you can feel bad. Oh, I wish I could have it like before. And I think a lot of parents struggle because your way of life is so different when you have children. You have to really take care of them, and they don't care about your well-being very much because it's what they want. they care about you and they want you to be well, but ultimately it's like, oh no, I want this. I want you to play with me. I want you to do this for me. See, as is saying, I think any of the themed retreats will have this sort of group hug quality to them. The Rain's winter retreat is entirely dissimilar, but there are generally fewer people around. Yeah, I think that's the main thing, that there's less people. It's a more quiet, contemplative time due to its nature. I think that's true. Rain's retreat, in Sri Lanka we call that Vasse, and there's rain season. So the way that worked was that the monks during the time of the Buddha, they would walk around a lot, and they would go for alms round. It's called Pindapata, I think it's called Pindapata. Yeah, alms round. So they would walk around and they go with their big begging bowls. I think I still have mine, actually. It's a big silver bowl like this. And you'd go up to a house and you'd like, do you have any food? And you'd beg for food. It was just that when it was raining, all the roads got very muddy and people had their crops and stuff. So they ruined like the land, and then they said, okay, during the rainy seasons you stay in one place, and then the villagers would come and give food to the monks instead of the monks going to the villagers. So during Vasse, or the rainy seasons, that was a period, I can't remember how long it is, if it's 2 months, 1 month, 3 months, I'm not sure, I can't remember. It's a period of time. That's very clear, it's a period of time. And you're not allowed to leave the center for that period. You stay there. And it's generally a period where most monks go inwards and they reflect more and they meditate more, and they don't have so many duties towards outside. It's like a restive period, kind of. So they have a retreat there as well during Vasse, or rainy seasons. Stephen, how different is a Vipassana retreat to a Buddhist monastery? So when you say Vipassana retreat, I'm assuming you mean the Goenka retreats. They've just kind of, it's a bit like the opposite of Scotch tape. So Scotch tape is a brand that was called Scotch tape, and then everyone now calls that kind of tape Scotch tape. Vipassana is the opposite. Vipassana is the term for all kinds of insight meditation, Buddhist insight meditation, and that has now become synonymous with a Goenka retreat. So Vipassana is just insight meditation according to Buddhism. But when we say Vipassana, many people think of Goenka and the practice centers that they have. And I would say that the main difference is that the Goenka centers are more franchised. So I usually compare them to McDonald's, meaning that it's very... They have lots of people there who don't know much about it. They just know how to answer, just like McDonald's. You go to McDonald's, you can take anyone and put them in McDonald's, and they have a script. So, hello, what would it be today? Okay, this, and then that, and then so, would you want any fries with that? Yes, okay. And then at the end, they're supposed to ask, do you want to supersize that? I'm not sure they actually asked that after that movie, but they have these questions, so they can put anyone into the cash register. They can take anyone, put them to make hamburgers, because they just have like a script and they follow. It's very easy. Goenka has built those centers. It's called the machine metaphor. I studied economy at a university, and the way of running a company is called the machine metaphor, meaning you reduce all the parts of the company so that a machine can do it with simple scripts. And that's basically what he's done to the meditation retreat. So the main part of the retreat is Goenka. He's dead. But the recordings of him telling the stories, leading you through, it's really like going on a roller coaster. I always felt like a little bit of excitement when I went there. I mean, I went to like 25 retreats at least, and I stopped counting. And it's like going to a roller coaster, and you go there and then everyone's excited and you give away your things, and then people kind of talk, oh, have you ever been before? Yeah, I've been before. I've done 2 retreats, 3 retreats. Like, oh, I've been on a long, have you done this? And they're so curious because most people are new. The majority of people, I think, are first. Maybe not. It just feels like it, at least. There was a lot of people who were quite new. And so you in there, and there's this whole like uplifting energy, and then you sit down and like, okay, what's gonna happen now? And then there's like this guy who starts going, and he has a very particular way of chanting that is unique to him, and his very polarizing ways of viewing Buddhist practice. I have never heard many of the things he describes is like a thing he has, and he believes that the tradition that they come from is the only tradition that knows the true word of the Buddha, and they pass it on to him. And there was a prophecy that 2,500 years after the Buddha was dead, there would come someone who would bring the Buddhism back. doesn't say it out loud, but that's probably him. Like, who knows? So it's a very particular way of practicing Buddhist meditation, but it's so good because all of the centers are just like McDonald's. You can go to any McDonald's all over the world and you know you're going to get good food. It's like, okay, good food might be a nice, decent food. And if you go to some of the countries like India and you go to certain restaurants in India, you're not going to get very good food. But you can always go to McDonald's and know it's safe, it's good. You can always go to a Goenka meditation Vipassana retreat and it's always going to be good and safe, mostly. I mean, they brush over some of the issues that come with it, but I really like them. I think it's the most accessible way for people to practice intensive meditation. Intensive, I mean, like, I think they do 10 hours per day. I think that's it, which is not like ultra. That sounds bad. It's not super intensive, but it's intensive for most people. And it's just for 10 days, so it's not really that long. But it's a good way to start and really try, because it's very different when you meditate for 10 days and 10 hours per day compared to meditating 1 or 2 hours per day for like a month or two. It's completely different things. I would say that it's more useful to meditate 2 hours per day for a year than meditate 10 hours per day for 10 days. But the best would be to do both, kind of, because then you get the momentum and you just try it. Like, I highly recommend you, if you have the chance, just do it. Okay, 10 hours is not insane, and also it's not like, okay, you sit down for 10 hours. No, you do 1 hour pause, 1 hour pause. It's the same. Like, it's not 10 hours. Sorry if I was unclear about that. There's no point in sitting very long, and there's a natural rhythm to how long you sit that just ends. For me, it's anywhere from 20 to 1 hour, but nowadays it usually doesn't take 1 hour. It's like 45 minutes and then I'm just done. In the beginning, you don't know that. It's not so clear for people. You sit down and then like, oh, I'm going to need to watch the clock the whole time. Like, how long I've sat? Or like, okay, I'm sure I've sat for at least 45 minutes. Like, what, 12 minutes? Like, what? So in the beginning, it's really better to just have a timer and just forget about the time. Just sit that time. But eventually you'll feel that it's over. It's done, kind of. You sit and it passes, kind of. And that's just gets easier. So there's no point in forcing yourself to sit like super long. I would say anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour. But then that also brings along other issues that can come, like we've talked about, the downsides of meditation. Or maybe I should call it not risk, the complications that can come from meditating, especially when you meditate longer hours and more intently. It can bring up lots of stuff that overwhelms you, and people have been describing all kinds of issues that come from meditating intensely or too much. So that's worth thinking about. But try it. Let's see what people wrote. Esperanza, that sounds kind of awful. Well, the funny thing is, like, there is nothing in when I say that it's like McDonald's that makes me say like, oh, it's just McDonald's crap. Like, no, honestly, I think McDonald's is amazing. I think McDonald's is an incredible company that have been able to create these. I think they basically invented the machine metaphor, or did they? Maybe Henry Ford did that, actually. But the whole idea that you can take an unskilled worker and make them do something, that's the only way you can have as many meditation centers as Goenka has. They have to do that. They have to, but they have strict rules what to follow and what to answer. And the teachers, I found many of them compared to like the monks that I would meet who had been meditating for 40 years or 50 or 60, even more, like, they had a completely different understanding of meditation than the person who was a layperson who did 20 Goenka retreats and went some kind of teacher training course. I have no idea how they actually do the teacher training course. And obviously they know much more than you do, very likely, because they've done that. But there's a lot more that can kind of be understood about it. And they only know it very superficially in general. They never go into deep explanations. They try to simplify things simply because it should be the same experience everywhere you go. If I would come in and have lots more knowledge, then all of a sudden, well, that wouldn't really fit with the other McDonald's. You didn't go to McDonald's to get the 3-star Michelin guide restaurant. No, you went there to get McDonald's. If you got a duck like in some kind of weird sauce with goose fillet and like all this, like, no, I didn't. I just wanted a burger and fries. So Goenka, they have the burger and fries, and sometimes it's really good with burger and fries. It's nice food. At least I like burger and fries. Sometimes you want something else, and there's nothing bad about that. You have to also understand that How many 3-star restaurants do you have around you? Probably more than you have really skilled monks who can teach you meditation, I would guess. And also, if you go to one of those centers, those restaurants, it's quite expensive. If you go to a normal retreat, it's usually very expensive in the West. In the West. If you go to retreats in Asia, it's way cheaper and really accessible. So it all depends on what you want and what you want to do. But either way, even if you think this sounds bad, like, try it. Like, really, it is an incredible experience. And he has some good points in what he says. Like, it's some of the things it makes a lot of sense, but it's also very religious, and it's really I personally don't even like the technique. It creates more distortion for me because I'm trying to look at something really fine, and when you look at a fine point, you have to like kind of feel the self and then look there. It's very difficult to have a wide sense of awareness, which is what happens when you become non-centric. They kind of don't match. So I would notice after a while that if I do his technique, I feel bad. I felt the distortion, like it made it worse when I tried to focus like this, which is why I have my particular way of teaching meditation, which might seem a bit random, but I really have a reason behind most of the things I say. Most of the things. Some things I probably don't, but I try to be consistent, and I try to move you towards what really works for me and what has worked for the people I work with, but not as you just do meditation to be calm. No, how you do meditation and then are able to implement that in your life so that you can be happy to be alive, because that's really what it's about. Like, are you happy that you're alive? If not, why not? Like, it makes no sense. This is the only life you have. This is the only moment you have. Why do you keep making it so difficult to be happy to be alive? And you say, oh, well, it's like this, and my father told me, society tells me, like, oh, I feel bad because they don't. Yeah, but why don't you feel good and then solve it? Why? Where did that come from? Why do we as a society make it so difficult to feel good, but so easy to feel bad? Like, I think a lot of overeating. I worked with quite a few people who were overweight, and it turns out that what they call hunger is many times not hunger. It's basically a distortion that just feels uncomfortable, so they stuff themselves with food, and then that kind of lessens that feeling. And that's what, like, much of the foods we eat make us feel that way. Let's see, as you're saying, the practice you suggested to me due to my issues sound to me most like Zen Zazen, wide open awareness. I recognize the name, but I'm not very familiar with the Zen traditions. Wide open awareness, I've heard that before. That's good, like, read into that more and see how they... And that's just the how to use your awareness parts. There's other elements that come into it as well. One of the main objections I have towards Buddhist meditation is that they focus on neutrality. In other words, we try to bring ourselves to a middle point where we're neutral. The idea that you can enjoy being here doesn't really match with Buddhism. I once did a podcast, I guess you could call it, with a YouTuber who was what is it, Taoism? Is it Taoism? Like a Taoist master? And he was basically saying that Buddhism is so negative in its approach to life, whereas Taoism is very happy and joyful. And that really appealed to me, because I agree, Buddhism has this perspective that, oh, this world is defiled, it's bad, it's evil, you should just not be attached to it, because this is not real, kind of. And that's not really conducive to enjoying your life experience. As rather than having a specific focus on the specific location of the breath, Zen just focus on everything at once. Yeah, that's very much how we use your awareness. Zen Zazen, wide open awareness. I'll see if I can look into that. Any other thoughts or questions that have come up? Or just anything that's on your mind? I know when I start talking about being happy and enjoying life, a lot of people come up with all these like objections. No, well, you can't do that. That's not possible. That Taoist master reminds me of the Three Tasters painting. Three Tasters. I recognize that as well. Life is joy, not suffering. I like that. Life is joy, not suffering. But because it's the thing, like, we do this to ourselves. It's not someone else doing this. I have kids and I've seen them grow up, and it's in a way very sad to see how they went from these joyful, happy kids who could just look around them and see marvel and like the magic of just being alive everywhere, until slowly they start having more things. They're like, okay, now I need this and I want it this way, and no, I want that, and it should be like, and they have like very strict ideas of how it should be now, and it's getting worse. And then I've also seen friends of them, or like friends of children of friends, who have grown up and they went from this light, easygoing to, when they get older, when they start having this idea of an identity that they need to protect, all of a sudden they're so much more miserable. They start having all these issues, and people can hurt them, meaning mentally, like, they don't like me, they don't think I look good, or they do like me and they look at me and want something from me, or my friends don't behave the way I think they should, or the world isn't the way, or I don't have the thing I think I need to have to be able to be happy. And like all this stuff starts, and it's a very natural progression that happens. It's an old Chinese painting of 3 vinegar tasters. One is a Buddhist, one is Confucian, and one is Taoist. One tastes the vinegar and finds it bitter. Another finds it sour. Another finds it sweet. Very interesting to find the vinegar sweet, because, and I think this is the distinction. It's not that you, well, if vinegar would be life, then yeah, it would be true. What we're talking about is not saying, oh, I enjoy when someone hits me. Like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying, oh, I'm happy that someone hits me. That's the way we think about it. No, I'm saying the happiness doesn't come from what is happening, whether that is nice stuff or bad stuff. The enjoyment and happiness comes from being alive. That's what you enjoy. Life, the experience of life. It is nice to be alive, to experience things. A good way to see this that might make sense to you is, if you've ever had pain, there's 2 parts to the pain. There's the physical pain, and then there's a mental suffering of the pain. And you can have that, like, oh, it hurts in my shoulder. And you go, this part here, that's the mental pain you're reacting to. Oh, it's so, the actual physical pain is just there, kind of. But then when it keeps on going, then it becomes this distortion inside of you towards that. So mindfulness, the reason why mindfulness is so effective at handling pain is because it helps you separate those two and see, like, oh, you know what? I can move towards neutral. I don't have to have this distortion towards this pain here. And then all of a sudden it's just pain. And it feels like the pain is gone. There is no pain there anymore. There is pain there, but it's just a little physical pain. What we have is we have pain, and then you, oh, like that. And some people have this more than others. Some people have a very high threshold for pain. Like, it's like that, and it doesn't really bother them. Others like, oh, wow, my hand. Oh, it's like that. Oh, it's so terrible. Oh, my goodness. Oh, look at my hand. I squeezed my hand. Like, oh, what happened? Like, it's very different how we react towards pain. And a lot of that has to do with what the reaction we're having towards pain. So you can still enjoy life even though something painful is happening. It doesn't mean you enjoy the pain that's being inflicted to you, or that the pain that's happening to you. That's not what we're talking about. In other words, we're not really talking about the vinegar, unless the vinegar represents life. Because life is just there, just being alive, just experiencing the world through your senses without this thing constantly ruining your life experience. And that's why I keep coming back to kids, because if you see a kid, they don't have that identity that they protect and hold dear, and so important what other people think about me, and if they said the wrong thing, then I have to go out and fight for it. They don't really have that. They haven't established those strong pillars, like this I should get angry, this I should be happy. And so they can just be happier more than we can, because it's just easier for them. And we're trying to move towards that, but while still being adults, meaning that if someone is obviously hurting you, just move away from there. That doesn't mean go into a situation that's bad for you, because you can understand that that is bad for you. You see the difference between enjoying the life experience and enjoying life. I blame social conditioning. Yeah, that's a lot of what it is. And it's so easy to, like, it's not even blame, it's just how the world kind of has become. And I think it's gotten worse with the way we live in the West. I mean, America is like they kind of supercharge this stuff and make it very difficult to do that any other way. And we kind of need it. I don't really see how you could grow up without social conditioning, because we also have rules to follow, and we just don't know how to raised, like I am trying, but it is difficult to not say, hey, if you don't behave, you don't get any watermelon after the food. Like it's difficult to not do that, even though I might not put it that bluntly. It's like pain reward it's just, unfortunately, it works so easy. So it's very easy as a parent to say things like that, or we appear disappointed when they don't do what we think they should do, when they do something that's bad. And we really have to look at that ourselves. If my kids drop something on the floor and they make a mess, I try to not react like, oh, why did you do that again? Oh, come on. It's very easy to have that reaction when you're eating with your kids and you're like, okay, now I'm going to sit down. And then they go, oh, sorry, I just spilled out the lemonade. Kind of like, oh, God. Those reactions cause the kids to feel like, oh, I did something wrong, I feel bad, and then they start having this. It just happens naturally, and we also have to understand that parents, we're people as well. Like, it's difficult to be a parent. It's difficult to not get sleep. It's difficult to be interrupted. It's difficult to lose your identity as a person and have it like revolve around someone else. Alan Watts writes about this: we need social conditioning just like you need salt meat to preserve it, but that done, you need to wash the salt out to enjoy it. Oh, I like that. Yeah, exactly. So I think we kind of need it, but at the same time, eventually as we grow up, we don't need it anymore. And for me, this is really something that came from evolution. Like, the distortion system was there to keep us safe, to make sure that we survived and we stayed with the group, because if you're rejected from the group, you have a less chance of surviving. It's just that now those systems are being overcharged by social media, marketing, internet. It's just like, it's very difficult today compared to before. Okay. Normally we chat a little bit like this, and then we have we do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method, which is a way of just reconnecting to our senses. And after that, today is Monday, so we'll have a guided meditation. Oh, I forgot it was Monday today. Yeah, I'll do that next time. We are going to have a guided meditation, and we've been changing it a little bit, so it's more towards actually looking at these things, how we are conditioned, and how you can kind of see that differently. I don't know exactly what angle we'll take today, but it's different every time. The 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method is a method where you look at your 5 senses. There's actually 6 if you can't count the mind, but we use the 6 senses. So we say out aloud 5 things we see, 4 things we can feel, 3 things we can hear, 2 things we can smell, and 1 thing that we can taste. And when we do that, we look for not the relationship we have with things or the feeling towards it. We look at the clear, the smallest parts of it. So my first thing I see this cup, and I can see the reflection, the colors, the curvature, the material. I can see the shadows. I can see the liquids that's inside of it. Like there's so much happening here, and really learning to enjoy what you see instead of just like, oh, it's a cup, I've seen this a million times. Or, oh, I like this cup so much and I have a strong distortion towards it. We're just trying to see things. In Buddhism, they have a saying, see, in the seen is only the seen, in the heard is only the heard, meaning you have no self going in and kind of ruining that experience by interlacing itself in between, saying like, oh, you like this one, no, you don't like this one, or this one you want, no, you don't want this one. You just see it as being there without you putting you into that experience, which is why then you can really see the world as it is, and then it happens to be very beautiful. I see a office chair, and say out aloud on your end what you're seeing. I see a lamp. I see a Buddha statue. And I see a flower. There's 5 things that I could see. Next we take 4 things that we can feel. I can feel the hairs on my neck. And there's 2 parts. I can feel my hand feeling it, but I can also feel my hand touching the neck. I can feel the blanket lying over my legs. I can feel my telephone. I can feel tingling on my lips, like something itching here. There's 4 things I could feel. Next we take 3 things that we can hear. I can hear the wind blowing outside. I can hear the sound of my computer fan. I can hear my neck, the vertebra kind of cracking a little bit when my neck moves. 3 things that I could hear. Next we take 2 things that we can smell. I smell fabric that's been inside in sunlight. I smell a toffee scent of some kind. 2 things I can smell. Next, 1 thing that we can taste. Taste rooibos tea. So for today's meditation, I want you to start by focusing on your breath with this wide open awareness. We're not trying to feel a particular part of the breath. We're not trying to go in and feel the minute details. We're just trying to be aware of breath happening. And the reason that's so powerful is that it gives you something that you can bring with you the whole time. Because as long as you're alive, you will always have breath happening. It's only short moments where you won't have breath happening. It's also an indicator of what's going on inside of you. If you have lots of distortions, if you feel lots of stress, you will notice that your breath is different. So that's another way of becoming more aware of how you're reacting to the world outside of you, because now all of a sudden your breathing changed. You go into a room when you feel uncomfortable and you almost hold your breath. You go into another room and then you just start breathing very quickly. Things change with our breath, and that relates to the world around us and inside of us as well. So it's a good thing to be aware of. It's a very useful thing to be aware of in and of itself. The other thing is that it also shows you when you start focusing on the breath and you make that your object of awareness, you can feel, it's like a biofeedback mechanism, because when you focus on your breath and you just keep coming back over and over and over and over again, back to the breath, the more you come back, the stronger your concentration will be, and the easier the stickiness of the mind will be. The easier it will be to just stay with the breath without any effort. And as it becomes easier to do that, you can notice how your breath is changing. It will become calmer, it will become more shallow. It won't be down in the stomach. It'll usually be more up in the chest, but very subtle movements. If it's down in the stomach, you're very likely doing that consciously. So the breath slows down and you can see, oh, this is working, and it calms down. And then when you've seen, okay, now I've been able to still my mind, then you can do what it is you want to do, which is, that could be Vipassana meditation. It could be what we're doing here, which is look at the distortion that comes up, or feel situations to see how am I reacting towards this situation. Or it could simply be to calm yourself down after a tough day or a tough situation that got you off guard. So the breath is useful both as a meditation object, but also as a biofeedback mechanism that shows you what's going on inside of you. It's important to be forgiving towards yourself. If you start thinking, oh, I'm such a bad meditator, I'm not able to stay with the breath, and I'm sure everyone else sitting here just flawlessly, without effort, just follows the breath and it just works. Or maybe you think you should have some kind of experience from it, something different than being here. That's basically the worst thing you can do to get into a calm state of mind, is creating more self from something that's supposed to lessen it. It's the same thing when I talk about you learn how to be happy to be alive. If you start thinking, oh man, I'm so bad at this, I'm just negative the whole time, and then you feel bad about feeling bad, so you've just made it even worse. Accept how reality is right now, and then choose what to do next. And as soon as you've done that, accept how reality is, and then choose what to do next. And just keep on going from there. Be kind to yourself. Be forgiving. Be light. Be easy. This is not serious. This is not something you're going to fix in a week or 24 minutes or however long you sit. Very likely you'll be doing this for the rest of your life. But it does get better, and life does change from it. See it as a long-term project that will change how you relate to the world around you. To make it easier to follow the breath, we're going to do a technique where we count the breath from 1 to 8, and then down again from 8 to 1. And I will do it with you one time first, and then you can continue yourself until I can come back and give you something else to focus on. So together we can breathe in and out. 1. In and out. 2. In and out. 3. In and out. 4. In and out. 5. In and out. 6. In and out. 7. In and out. 8. In and out. 7. In and out. 6. In and out. 5. In and out. 4. In and out. 3. In and out. 2. In and out. 1. Now keep on counting your breath from 1 to 8, and then down again from 8 to 1 as you breathe in and out. 1. In and out. I want you to look back throughout the day and see, can you find any situation where you went from feeling good and enjoying being there to feeling bad? And see, what was it that happened? What was it that pushed you out of feeling like it was worth to be here, like it was fun to be here? And if you can't find that today, then look back to another day and see what it is that caused you to stop enjoying being here. Many times it will be that, well, they said this to me and that wasn't the right way to say it, or they should have been more sensitive, or I didn't get what I wanted to have, because if I had that thing, then I would be happy. Or someone else got something that I wanted to have, and that makes me sad. Many times when you look at this, you realize after a while that there's this, well, Eckhart Tolle calls it the pain body. There's almost like a separate body inside of you who reacts to the world around you, who wants the world to be a certain way, and they feel pain when it doesn't. Heck, they feel pain when it does. It doesn't really matter. It's always reacting. When you start seeing that this is where the sense of self comes from, this is where you reside, your distortions create this separate entity kind of inside of you. And at the same time, that separate entity is what feels like you. So when you approach these difficult feelings, realize that that is you. We tend to look at them and think, oh, it's something attacking us. We have a bad feeling, and I can stand here and I can observe it attack me. The thing that happened earlier when you stopped feeling well, it was because someone attacked you, or something happened. There was an outside force that made me feel bad. When you have the shift and understanding that that's not coming from the outside, that is you. The stimuli for it might be coming from someone else, but you are the one who's pushing back. You are the one who's letting this happen inside of you. Many then try to fight it by pushing it down or expressing it to let it come out. But very few allow themselves to feel what this feels like. And when you can really allow yourself to feel that way without feeling like it's something separate, by realizing that it's you, and you move inside of it, that anxiety, that fear, that worry, that feeling of not being enough, of having been cheated, or whatever it is that you feel, when you accept that feeling and really move inside of it, it evaporates, it disappears, there's nothing left, because there was nothing there to begin with. You just made it all up, and you made it real. Or rather, the social conditioning that you were subjected to while you were growing up and while you became an adult has caused you to have this reaction towards whatever it is you're reacting. It has caused the connections inside of you that make you believe that you need to feel bad when that happens. If you look at that, if you feel what that feels like, and then ask yourself, is this how I want to live my life? Is it worth it because of this to ruin this life experience, which is the only one you have? This moment right now that you're experiencing is the only moment you will ever have. You can never have anything outside of now. So if you believe it's not good enough, the world isn't good enough for you to feel good now, realize that when you will feel good, it's also going to be right now. It's never going to be outside of here, never going to be outside of now. Let that simmer a little bit. Feel that thing that came up that made you feel bad all of a sudden. See, can you see that that is you? can you see that it's nothing to be afraid of? And when you're not afraid of it, it just disappears. It will come back again. But if it was 100% first, now maybe it's half of that. Or maybe it's 70% of that. Or maybe it's just 10% of that. It will gradually move and change and become different. Hey, Mindful Mama. Thank you. That was a very nice sitting. Did anyone notice what we were talking about, this whole distortion thing? I'm just curious before we end it today. Did anyone feel that it worked when you started looking at it like that and not resisting it, but actually allowed yourself to move into it? Good night, Esperanza. And if you didn't, that's okay as well. It takes practice, but it does get easier when you stop feeling afraid of yourself, when you stop being afraid that you are dangerous somehow, but actually allow yourself to feel that. Yeah, I think it's bedtime. We'll discuss that more next time. Thank you everyone for coming, and I will see you on Thursday again. I hope you have a great week.